We were taught to believe the answers were locked away in concrete and steel. But Season 3 proves something far more unsettling. The truth was never hidden below us. It was postponed. Welcome back to DriftEcho, where systems don't fail quietly, and no secret survives pressure. Because Silo Season 3 isn't a continuation. It's a rupture. For 2 seasons, the show conditioned us to think in limits. Tight stairwells. Restricted knowledge. A society trained to confuse safety with silence. The silo felt like the entire universe because that's what it was designed to be, a complete reality, sealed and unquestioned. Season 3 shatters that framing. This is the moment Silo stops being an isolated mystery and reveals itself as a global catastrophe with a long memory. The walls don't just come down physically. They collapse narratively. Drawing heavily from Shift, Hugh Howey's prequel, Season 3 finally lifts the camera above ground. And what it finds isn't hope, it's history. Cities. Governments. Decisions made in panic and justified as mercy. For the first time, we're shown how the silos were conceived, who signed off on them, and why humanity chose confinement over extinction. And that shift reframes everything. This isn't about endurance anymore. It's about responsibility. Juliet Nichols returns, but she's no longer chasing fragments of truth. She's confronting a system with full awareness of what it cost. Rebecca Ferguson plays her not as a survivor reacting to revelations, but as a force actively tearing them open. Juliet isn't searching for answers now. She's demanding consequences. And this time, she isn't alone. Season 3 introduces figures from the world before the silos, people who didn't inherit the system, but designed it. Daniel, a U.S. congressman, and Helen, a journalist, give us a terrifying new perspective. Not villains in the traditional sense, but architects of compromise. Their story shows how fear becomes legislation, and how temporary solutions calcify into generational prisons. The narrative fractures deliberately. One timeline follows the claustrophobic present inside the silos. The other tracks a surface world unraveling in real time, making impossible decisions under the belief they're saving the future. Each jump between timelines sharpens the same question. Were the silos salvation, or a crime preserved by time? Then there's Silo 17. What once felt abandoned now reveals itself as something far more disturbing. Not a failure, but a warning. A place where society didn't rebuild, it decayed. People didn't adapt to live. They adapted to last just one more day. Rusted infrastructure, psychological collapse, and survival stripped of dignity. Season 3 makes it clear, not all silos were meant to succeed. And finally, the show stops circling its most ominous presence. The algorithm. Safeguard. Season 3 exposes its origin and its purpose. Why reproduction was controlled. Why curiosity was criminalized. Why textbooks lied, and history was rewritten. None of it was excess. None of it was random. It was design. A system built to outlast human doubt, even if it meant erasing humanity's memory of itself. Once that truth is revealed, there's no reset button. No controlled rollback. Knowledge, once released, can't be resealed. Behind the scenes, production wrapped in May 2025 after filming through late 2024. Post-production is moving fast, with industry signals pointing toward a late 2025 release window. And the confirmation that Season 4 is already underway tells us everything we need to know. Season 3 isn't the conclusion. It's the ignition. This is the season where Silo finally tells us what it's always been about, not survival, but power. Not protection, but control. And the cost of forcing humanity to forget the world it once had. So here's the question that Season 3 leaves us with. If the truth was hidden to save mankind, what happens when mankind decides it would rather know? This has been DriftEcho. Stay curious. Stay critical. Because once the sky comes back into view, there's no going underground again.